to have a beer with your face on the shelves of these beer distributors that you've walked in so many times, it's crazy. And then to have your buddies text you and say, dude, this is wild. Like, we're so proud of you. It means the world. And I'm glad that we did it. Are there things in hindsight I would have changed? Yeah, absolutely. Of course, such as life. But it's cool to have even it's just a sticker on a can. Yeah. But it's cool to keep that little memory of like, man, this was neat. Like, we went to the first brew day and everything. I'm pouring the hops in there. It was a really cool experience. I wish it would have went a little bit differently, but I don't know. I'm going to crush another one.
Welcome back to Brew That Podcast. I'm your host, Richie Tevlin, joined as always with Evan Blum.
Hello.
And today we are joined by Greg Ulrich. Chase Ulrich.
I don't know who Greg is, but there's a Doug and a Chase Ulrich
oh my
here.
God. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just getting confused. There's just so many names going on. So I know probably everyone that has like follows you knows this name situation, but we've been talking about it. Can we just start off with the name and then we'll go from there? So food influencer in Philly.
Yeah, that's what,
food extraordinaire.
That's what they say. Foodie. Sometimes I'll do sports. Sometimes I'll do a nice Delco accent, but it's a little mix and match of everything anymore. But the name started Chase U. My real name is Doug, which is like the second line of my biography, so everybody knows that. But Chase U started when I had a personal training account. So it was kind of like an adaptation off my last name, which starts with U, and it was Chase the best version of you. But this was many pounds and many cheesesteaks ago, so no longer a personal trainer. But I was like, I'm not going to recreate the brand. At that time, I think we had maybe 1,000 followers, and then COVID happened, so there was no more in the gym. I had to get shoulder surgery. Then there was definitely no more in the gym, and Chase U just kind of
I think that's a way with a lot of internet personalities.
Yeah.
Like, you see them with all the followers that they have, but you don't realize like at some point they started with like 300 followers, and then it just like it's at no point did they just like restart their brand when they were like became this publicly known figure. Like,
yeah, we all started with 0, and then it just kind of the things just kind of happened and fell into place. But my real name is Doug. Feel free to intertwine. Sometimes people are like, oh, it's government name, which it is, but whichever one you want to call me.
No, it's kind of funny to have a nickname that's just like another first name.
It's amazing because it lets me know, like, if we're at a Phillies game or an Eagles game or just out and about and people yell Chase, they most likely know me from social media. Yeah. But if they yell Doug, it's like, oh,
that's good.
One of my cousins is calling me, or my friends. So it is nice to kind of have this differentiation, but now it's gotten to the point where, thankfully, I say it all the time, we're blessed by the best, where we've gotten enough people to kind of we formed this internet relationship with that they are now, like you said, they're inside on the joke of like, oh no, his name's Doug, and it's like we'll go out to some spots, and there's a great place in New Jersey called Louie G's roast beef, best roast beef I've ever had. The girl behind the counter, Gianna, her dad owns the place. Walk in one day and she goes, we had somebody who said, oh, this Chase U guy sent me there. It's great. They're like, oh, Chase's review was awesome. And she looks at the guy and says, actually, we're friends. And his real name is Doug. So now it's taken on like a life of its own of like, oh, no, if you actually know him, you know that his real name isn't Chase. So
you're very personable. Is there a difference between Chase and Doug?
No,
or is it just you?
Who you see is who you
life?
get. And I don't know if that's because I'm naive or what, but this is the person on camera is the person that you're going to meet in real life, unless it's like 8:00 in the morning and I'm just waking up. But at that point, I don't know, man. I'm like a golden retriever. I want to be everybody's best friend. Yeah. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but no, who you see on camera is who you see in real life.
Was that, and you said you were doing like personal training before this, was that kind of like the brand also? You were kind of like talking in front of the camera, or was it more just like flexing, here's my workout tips?
It wasn't even that. It was just flexing in front of the camera, right? When Instagram used to just be so many
just pictures,
stills, it was like me and my buddies just working out. And I look back at it now, and I'm like, you provided zero value of anything. No, like, oh, here was the workout, here's the breakdown, here's what muscle. Dude, like, oh, here's me flexing in the mirror, and here's my shoulders again. Like that was every single post, and it was fun for me. It filled the ego, but aside from like, your gym crew that you work out with, there was no value add to it. So
was that the first time like you posting content? Or
sure it was. Like I've been trying to post content, I don't know, probably since 2014, but that content came in intermittent ways of like my girlfriend at the time had gotten me a flip camera. And I was like, oh, let's film something. And you just post it up on YouTube because you didn't know any better. There was no plan in place. It was just like, oh, my friends are going to find this funny. And you have 6 views, one of which is you, 5 of which are your family, and maybe 1 additional friend. And everybody else is like, oh, yeah, okay, what are you doing? But then, you know, as time progresses, you kind of, you find that one thing that works. And it's like, oh, I get it now. But yeah, that's, I want to say we've been doing Chase U in this aspect probably since, I don't know, 2022 is really when we kind of hit our stride a little bit. But
and what happened? You like just tore your shoulder and you're like, I just want to do something different?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we initially were doing like, you know, the workout stuff, and then shoulder happened, COVID happened, weight gain happened, and it was just, I need something to do. And I remember one day my wife and I, during COVID, all masked up and everything, we were shopping at Aldi, and I saw in their Aldi Find section a maple bacon coffee. And I just put it on Snapchat and sent it out to a couple people on my story, and I was like, should we do a review of this? And that was it. Prior to that, my wife and I were doing like Yum Yum boxes. So it was like food from all around the globe. And we just sat there and did like a 15-minute video.
Like unboxing.
Yeah, and that was really it. And it was just fun. It was something we enjoyed doing. So we did the coffee review, and at the time, before I became a little bit of a coffee snob, I was like, "Oh, this is good. You should try it." You shouldn't. The how chemically enhanced isn't the right word, but altered it was not. It's not a good coffee, but it got like 75 views. I'm like, "Oh my goodness gracious, this is amazing!" So we started doing the coffee stuff, and it was a lot of fun.
It was only coffee?
Just coffee. That was it. So I've learned a lot about coffee just kind of by doing that stuff. Like I'm a coffee addict for sure. But it was just kind of like finding these different brands that had cool, fun flavors, because I love a flavored coffee, and just doing like a review, but making a skit out of the review. Certainly there was some where it was just sit behind a table, point and shoot. But I was like, there was one that was called Mint Invaders from Chocolate Space by Bones Coffee Company. Obviously a mint chocolate chip coffee, but the first shot of that video is me floating in the air as if I'm being abducted. I literally put my hands on both sides of the counter and just had my wife film my feet floating. But like I wanted to make a skit, and they're ridiculous. They're absurd. I look back and I still love them, but they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
So we were kind of like just doing that, and one day I'm scrolling through TikTok, and I wanted to avoid TikTok for so long because it was just, dances for the longest time. And then I vividly remember one day I'm laying on TikTok. I was like, I could do this so much better. Like, I could do these things. And I literally said to myself, don't talk about it, be about it. Shot up from the couch in that moment and just started filming stuff. Started using the trending sounds. One sound took off. And it's that like taste of success where you're like, oh, I'm addicted to this. I like this. I want more views, which psychologically is super unhealthy, but it's the reality. We start posting a couple coffee videos. Some people start reaching out. They're starting to send us some of their coffee. And my ultimate goal was just to have free coffee. I just didn't want to pay for free coffee. And we got there. So we were having fun with it. And it was a lot of it was an enjoyable time when we were all locked in to just be like, okay, we can still connect with people.
That's how
Josh
Eats Philly got like a $50 Dunkin' Donuts gift card. That's how he got started.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the like food influencers that start, it's like go into it just like we're just making content compared to like where it changed at some point to like we're going to get paid for all the stuff we're doing.
It's surreal, and that's why I say it again all the time. Blessed by the best. I thank God every day for what I'm able to do and do all of this stuff. But this where we got now was a big piece to Lizzy, aka Lower Merion Foodie on TikTok or Instagram. She made a video ranking the top 5 cheesesteak spots. And she basically said, I forget what the other 4 were, but she goes, number 1 is D'Alessandro's. And if you like D'Alessandro's, chef's kiss. And I stitched it, and I literally went, it's not that good. And it blew up. Like, that was like my first viral video on TikTok when it was easy to go viral on TikTok. And people were like, this guy gets it. He knows what it is. And then there were other people who were like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, little reference, I grew up on top of a pizza shop. My dad owned a pizza shop when I was growing up. Unfortunately, not as successful as like an Angelo's or anywhere close. But I said to myself, I was like, I know a whole hell of a lot more about cheesesteaks than I do about coffee. Let's start going and doing this stuff. And then that's when it kind of started of going out, just like Josh Eats Philly said, you go out and you quite literally, you're paying your dues. You're paying just like we all do, right? It's a business transaction. You pay X amount of money, you receive the food. Mm-hmm. But now I just so happen to record it on camera. And I think there was a video at Angelo's. And, you know, got to play the game, right? Angelo's is a big name. You know that it's probably going to do well. So that I don't want to say it was one of the first ones that we did. But we went down to Angelo's and we stopped off at Woodrow's prior. So we filmed a nice little cheesesteak review at Woodrow's, and they have a creamy chili truffle mayo that's on there. And there's a big argument of, does mayo go on a cheesesteak? Depends on who you ask.
I think mayo goes on everything, but I'm kind of weird.
I like mayo on a cheesesteak, but the way that cheesesteaks are now with Cooper Sharp fried onions, it doesn't need it. But if you ask me 5-10 years ago, you go to a corner shop, mom and pop pizza shop, yeah, American cheese, mayo, ketchup, fried onions. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. But the Angelo's thing, we went out there, and my wife's a big reason for this. I was very nervous. Everybody's out there in their Eagles gear, myself included. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Because I had just done the review and I wanted to do man on the street interviews. And I was like, I'm not one to shy away from talking to somebody, but I was very nervous. And she looks at me. She basically says, "Who the hell are you? This is the guy that I married. Like, who cares? If somebody says no, just move on to the next person. You're all out here. Everybody's having fun. It's Eagles games coming up. Just go ask them some questions." And we did. And I think that was one of the big pieces that really let me go, no, this was fun. This was a lot of fun. And, you know, we had
just ripped the Band-Aid off.
That's
really,
what
Dan and Doug were saying. It was like, you know, you just 99% of people are going to suck. You just have to keep going.
Yeah. And it's just.
What year was that? Like
that was 2020, either late 2022, like very late 2022 or 2023.
Yeah.
Yep. So not terribly long ago. And
no, and you kind of exploded onto the scene. Like I don't remember seeing your stuff beforehand, but very quickly I started seeing it.
Yeah, and thank you. That lets me know that I'm doing my job. The amount of people who were like, "Oh man, I see you everywhere," and it's such like that is such a breath of fresh air because it lets me know like. Okay.
No, you're being seen.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, dude, from a social media perspective, you just see numbers. You don't know until someone actually says something. And it's like, oh, it resonates. Or like, yeah, you're just going to see a lot of numbers. But until someone actually gives you that.
Yeah, it says to you in person, like, oh my God. Or like, and that's one of the biggest and coolest things is when we go down to Citizens Bank Park. And obviously, with a newborn, we haven't been down there. I've been down there once, and thankfully that's because the Phillies invited us, which is
that's so cool,
so insane. Shout out to Missy Perez, but I had done one of the songs of like, "Go Birds" is one thing, "Go Phils" is another, and they used the song on TikTok, which was one of the coolest things.
With your voice?
Yeah, to see Kyle Schwarber walking out to the background of a song of me doing a Delco accent, but she invited us out and. It was just, it was cool to really be around other content creators, but being in a suite too, like, it's not my element. Like, I want to be of the people. Now, granted, I want to be in the 100 level with the people, but like when you go out there, people are like, "Yo, can I take a quick picture with you?" I'm just some asshole that eats food on camera with a beard. Like but the fact that it resonates with people, and there's people who are like, "Dude, one time we were leaving the game and this guy messages me, and I never thought that I was going to get a message like this, and it's so surreal." But he's like, "Dude, life is hard." He's like, "But I know that when I come on and I see your videos, like it gives me those 60 seconds to just kind of relax and enjoy that." I get getting chills talking about it, but like it's just. I'm just eating food, trying to help small businesses.
Yeah, but like you talked about before, like social media can be toxic, but it also allows people like you to get in front of people.
Yeah.
Like how hard would it have been like for normal people? Not that you're a normal person, you're a great personality, but like to get on TV and get in front of all these people. Like 30 years ago, that would have been impossible.
I say it all the time. God didn't give me many gifts, but He gave me the gift of gab and a sweet beard. So I thank God I could put him to use somehow. But I do get that question a lot from like other content creators. I could talk about this all day. Like this could be a 7-hour podcast, and we can come back tomorrow and do another 7. I love talking about content. Getting reps in is obviously the biggest thing, right? Getting your reps in, being consistent. But people will ask all the time, like, "How do you get in front of the camera?" I'm like, I don't know, man. I just get in front of it and talk. But like my full-time job, which shout out to Drexel University, College of Engineering, go Dragons. But my job is to speak to people. That's been my job in higher education for the last 12 years, is to go out there and try to recruit students to a specific school that I work at. So I've really been able to kind of sharpen my irons in doing that. And instead of just talking to a crowd, now I just talk to a camera. And usually behind the camera is my wife, so it makes it a lot easier to talk to her. So usually, like,
I'm assuming your videos have gotten better.
I would hope.
Are there like specific things that you're working on now?
Yeah, getting B-roll shots and overlay shots.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So instead of just because a lot of it is just such point and shoot, and I've talked to this. This was such a huge validation. But it was Jonathan who runs the marketing at Bean to Bean Coffee, which is my favorite coffee in the city of Philadelphia. He was talking about like other content creators. He goes, "What I love about you is that it's you. It's your content. It's not the overview of the food that's coming over, which everybody's doing. You're there. You're eating the food. I'm seeing your actual reaction to you eating the food, not you just going, oh, here's a shot from up above and saying, oh, it's really good. You should try it." Which I'm not knocking anybody. I kind of am knocking some people, but like you're seeing the actual reaction. But people also care about the food. So I've been trying to get into the back of the restaurants and just getting some B-roll footage, and that's it. And Anthony from Pastaficio's in Northeast Philly was really the big one, or not, in South Philly rather. Pastaficio's in South Philly was really the one who kind of invited me back and was like, oh, we should get me making the sandwich, and it kind of like clicked of like, yeah, no shit, we should do that. So that's what we've been trying to do more. And then just upping from using your phone to using a DJI to implementing wireless mics to make sure that the audio sounds good.
Yep.
But it's also just making sure that you have that vision of like, what do people want to see? And then just being authentic with how you're telling the story of what you're eating or what you're showcasing.
So did you have when you started and you're like, all right, I'm going to start doing the food thing? Did you have a list of like 50 places, or you just kind of have everything? And it's kind of like day to day, like whatever you're doing.
A lot of my life has just been winging it, just kind of shooting from the hip, and it's served me well. I'm not a planner. My boss will be the first one to tell you that, but it's being able to kind of just like grab and go, where again, shoot from the hip. So a lot of it in the beginning was just, we're in this area. That place looks cool. Maybe we should just go do a video real quick. Just like Josh said, right? We're here. Let's shoot a video. Or just kind of like showing those places you love that you've been going to for years before content was even a thing. Just show them a little love and just kind of going from there. And I mean,
has your knowledge of where everything's at and like what the good spots are, has it like increased significantly? Are you just getting hit up with DMs just like constant recommendations?
Thank God we do get a lot of requests. And that fills up the schedule pretty quickly. But if there is a place that's out there when I'm already in a place that's kind of called me out, I'll try to hit that up. Just to, it makes good use of time, but also my wife and I just love doing this stuff together. And the fact that our son's there, we can do this with him. It is such a gift to be able to do that stuff and also enjoy it while we're doing it. But it's tough because you find these good places and then you're like, I'm just going to keep going back to them. Like Cafe Carmella is my number one spot for cheesesteak, for Italian food. I love Cafe Carmella. Joe Maglio, also a Father Judge guy. His wife, Anna Marie, congratulations to them. They also just had a little baby boy. South Philly girl. So like it's people who you just want to see succeed. Cafe Carmella's original spot is in Northeast Philly, right around the corner from Father Judge. But the fact that they're so good, and I have a Northeast Philly bias, even though I don't live there anymore, I just want to keep going back to them. But they're phenomenal. So yes, I've gotten to know like a lot of the good spots, but it's also what to look for in the good spot. But it's also challenging because taste is subjective. So what I like, you guys might not like. And
but you also can't be wrong. Like this is Chase U's opinion of the food that he's eating.
Yeah, that's also, I don't even want to say a tough one, but some people, they'll get on my ass in the comments, be like, oh, you've never left a bad review. And I was like, you'll never see a bad review from me. I'm never going to trash a place because what good does that do?
At the end of the day, it's still a cheesesteak.
It's still a cheesesteak. Like most cheesesteaks are good, right? Buster from Q102 said this the other day. He's like, I'm so sick of hearing this is the number one, that's the number one. And there are clear top tier cheesesteaks. But it's like pizza.
That's the thing. It's not. It's hard to like rank them one by one, but you can tell like there's different tiers of them.
Absolutely, and that's like I do the tip of the tongue rating, right? I love alliteration so much. So tip of the tongue just worked for me, but it's such an arbitrary scale because our tastes are so different. They vary so much, but I don't enjoy giving a bad review. Again, I know the sacrifices that a small business owner makes, and if you leave a bad review, that takes all these slips away from you. And it's not just, oh, now you're not getting business, but your kids aren't going to school.
Yeah.
Or you can't get gas in your car to make sure that your kids need to get to where you need to get to. And that's the ripple.
Yeah, you're not
effect.
giving a bad review to Subway.
Yeah, it's
bad review to like a family business.
Exactly. And I have given bad reviews to Dunkin' Donuts because their coffee's inconsistent. And like sometimes I think about it, I was like, yeah, but the person who's working there making my coffee isn't Dunkin' Donuts. They just happen to work there. But I feel strongly about that. If somebody wants to leave a negative review, by all means, go do your thing. But I'm not going to try to get some sexy views out of being like, this place sucked. Don't go here. What is that? That does nothing for me, and it hurts the business. It can hurt the business
100%.
so much. So there's no point. If I don't like a spot, I'll talk to the owner and be like, hey, I just didn't like this.
Yeah, on the side.
Yep, and just be like, this is what I would do differently. That's it. No, take the ego out of it.
So I got a couple questions. What was your dad's cheesesteak like? Like, was it? I mean, I'm assuming he didn't have like the sesame rolls or anything like that.
No, that was way back when Amoroso was still the go-to roll, and Amoroso is not the go-to roll anymore. Amoroso has its purpose, and that is in the house when you're making a sandwich. But I think it was a Amoroso's roll, and he's probably listening to this being like, it wasn't that. But no seeded roll, just regular old American cheese, ribeye seasoning. And I think his seasoning was just like onion powder, salt, and pepper, and that was it. But I mean, I'm biased, right? I grew up on this cheesesteak. The thing was thick, double C, thicked up, good flavor. And there's two spots that when I've taken a bite into this cheesesteak, I've like
Reminds you of home.
it does. It's so nostalgic, and I got like teary eyed, which is weird. But like, there's one that is Amy's Pizzeria in Hatboro that got some not so great social media. I'm sorry, no. The reason that it got social media buzz is because somebody was in there and was a full Karen. But
It was like right next to me. I'm gonna check this place out. I've never even heard.
oh
of it.
really? Okay,
Yeah.
Amy's Pizzeria on Hatboro. Nothing to write home about. Good, decent pizza shop. Like, just that's it. But their cheesesteak we had at one time, and I bit into it. I was like, oh my god! Again, nothing crazy about it. Roll wasn't stellar. Meat wasn't stellar. And it's also relative to like how good cheesesteaks are now. But I took that bite and the seasonings. I was like, oh my goodness, this is Dad's cheesesteak. And there's another place that was basically my dad's but leveled up, and that's Cap's Deli. It is their Conchi Classic, which is like they have a cheesesteak, but then they have the Conchi Classic on the menu, which is a little bit more of a rough chop on their meat, which I like. But it's just the flavors. When I bit into it, I was like, this is wild. But they are using a seeded roll, so the Conchi Classic at Cap's. It's a pretty good one. But yeah, his cheesesteak, it was good. He was just, it was in Wissinoming between the variables that take place of a neighborhood changing, trying to offer fair prices in a business. Like, being a fair businessman is just an oxymoron, right?
Yeah.
It kind of sucks to say that, but it's tough. And when you have inconsistent help that's coming through, and that hasn't changed to this day, of like trying to find good help at a decent wage, everything's just kind of stacked up against you. So again, I liked his cheesesteak a lot. His pizza was a little too cheesy and saucy for my liking, and but it was fun. It was fun growing up in a pizza shop because I didn't see all the struggle that he went through. But now
you just got to enjoy the cheesesteak.
You got to enjoy a lot of really good food, and he had great strombolis. But now that I do this and I talk to him more and I can appreciate more of what I went through, Dad, you're the American dream, man. So thanks for doing everything you did.
What's the so other than the cheesesteaks, when you go to these places, is it like what's the other parts of the menu? Like French fries? Do you hit anything else?
That's I don't do French fries too much. A lot of cutlets.
Del Rossi's French fries are like next level.
I gotta get the Del Rossi's.
It's so good.
I know, and a rumor has it they're opening up a new spot.
They're great.
For them to
they're really underrated, and they do delivery all around the area, super fast, super cheap also.
Oh really?
Yeah.
They're on Uber Eats now, right?
Yeah.
And aren't they doing like buy one get one free deals?
Yeah,
sometimes?
it's
crazy.
Like it's the best delivery cheesesteaks and pizza around here.
I've heard nothing but good things from them. I have to get there.
Yeah, but I guess other than cheesesteaks, I mean, I know you do. It's not just cheesesteaks that you do. You also
it's like my calling card, though.
Your calling card, yes.
Yeah.
But like the other things that you're hitting on, I know you're pushing Hanks right now.
Yeah, Hanks. Love a Hanks soda. Been a Hanks soda drinker fiend since I was a kid. Black Cherry Wishniak is one of my favorites, but now they have a new, shameless plug, a new all natural Hanks, 0 sugar, 0 calorie. They're Pompelmo or grapefruit. Phenomenal.
Hank's is a Philly company, right?
It is. Hank. It's named after Hank Salvatore, who used to be the state senator, and his son Tony and John are now two of the guys running it, and they're doing a great job. We've talked a lot about social media and how we can implement social media into what they do better, because some of their stuff is Instagram of 2010. A lot of pictures, a lot of graphics, a lot of things that would look great to a 30 to 45-year-old middle-aged white woman who's this is a fun graphic. It doesn't do anything.
I've seen them, and like you said, you didn't know that they were Philly. I've known that they're Philly, but it doesn't stick out in my head. But like by partnering with you, you are the Philly guy.
Thank you.
So it's like by putting brands next to you, it kind of proves that like this is Philly.
The collaboration is kind of key, and they do a lot of stuff where they're like, "Oh, Philly brand," and they post it in their stories, but it
doesn't resonate.
No, exactly, and that's what I've kind of talked to a lot of these companies about. That is like, if you have this brand, give a face to it, make an association. And with Hank's, it's so easy. They have so many customers of pizza shops, burger joints, wing spots, wherever. Let's partner up a little bit. Send me out to these customers, and not even your customers, to potentially be like, "Oh, you formed a lead for us," which has happened. But it's. I love the phrase, and I first heard it from Buster, at least when it really resonated from me. But like, a rising tide raises all ships. We can all work together on this stuff.
Yep. No, it's something to actually. We'll get into, I'm sure, the collaboration with Vault and everything. But when that came out, that was something that. We do a lot of beer marketing. That's like what we do. And we saw that. I'm like, this is the type of thing specifically for breweries. I'm like, everybody has access to some sort of like local influencers. Like, they should totally be doing stuff like this. But that's the same thing that could be said with anything like Hank's, or like any sort of localized like food companies.
Seasoning.
It makes so much sense, and then you look at the target audience that you're going for. You connect all the dots.
Gen Z,
like it just makes all the sense of the world. I referenced you on some talk I did at some point. Yeah, like genuinely, I'm like, it just makes so much sense. People have to be looking towards influencers like you that have the business sense and the behind the scenes that could also.
You also mentioned before that like you kind of look like Jason Kelsey. Like, you get the poor man's Jason Kelsey.
Yeah. Yep,
like
exactly.
If someone like
the
scrolling through on
Yep.
TikTok, like, oh, I thought Jason Kelsey repped this brand.
Yeah, no, it is. Again, all those white guys with beards look the same, especially when you have like a middle part or a side part. But that's exactly what it is. Like, one of the things, I'm in grad school at Drexel. Shout out to the closed school of entrepreneurship. But one of the things that I've taken away from this was just one of the lessons that we were learning, or presentations that we were doing, but like, you're able to connect the dots forward but also backwards, like retroactively. How can this work together? What should we have done to now kind of slingshot us forward? And with Hank's and all the beverage companies, it just makes sense to be like, I'm going out there eating, what am I washing it down with, right? And we're trying to work with somebody who I bought the car off of, which was Pacifico Ford down in South Philly. So bought a Ford Maverick, which is great. Love it. Wanted to get a nice, safe car for the baby. But I pitched back to them. I said, guys, you're in South Philly. Why don't we go do a review at a shop? Car's behind us. We could be in the car. Like, there's so many ways that you can look at the different branches that are coming off this route of social media.
Yeah, Gary Barbera. Instead of just a stupid bear,
exactly.
We got you.
Exactly. Is Barbera the best boy, I guess? But there's so many different ways that you can unify that and kind of work with them seamlessly. And I think that's one of the things that people get a little tricked up or like nervous about social media, especially people who don't understand, and they go, I'm not going to put my money in that. I'm going to put my money in dropping menus off at somebody's doorstep. Yeah, you know what's going to happen with that menu? Right in the trash, because they're going to go right online to look at it, where you could spend a lot less money. That's going to be a lot more effective. So again, using Hank's as the example, we pitched that exactly to them. Gave them a breakdown of like essentially a cost analysis of what this is going to look like, and we inked a 3-month contract, and hopefully we
just
can
like
do
every single time you're having a cheesesteak, like you gotta drink something.
Yep,
you might as well drink with a Hank's.
Exactly. We gave them some deliverables, and especially with everything that's taking place in Philadelphia in the upcoming year, right? We have the World Cup, the Club World Cup that's going on now. World Cup's coming here next year. All-Star Game's coming here next year.
The Club World Cup, I didn't realize that was happening in Philly until like 3 weeks ago. The World Cup's going to be insane next year. It's already crazy with the Club World Cup. There's so many people coming in from out of country. And I mean, this is just like nothing compared to the World Cup.
And now everybody that's going to come in here looking for, where's a good place to eat?
Yeah.
No matter where it is, there's this bearded guy that's drinking a Hank soda. Like, those are the things that, like, brands right now, if they're not doing something, this is the time. I mean, they're already a little bit late to the game, but there's so much.
Yeah, especially every place
association.
also you go to, like they're gonna be like, oh look, we got like thousands of views on it, but like Hanks was there also. Like, let's think about bringing them in too.
Exactly, and like what are the things that people that are coming here for the first time are able to associate with Philadelphia? Like cheesesteaks, Philly, Tasty Cake, Philly, Soft Pretzel Factory, Philly, Hanks, Philly. Bring everything together to know, like, I'm getting the real Philly experience.
There's a lot of like large regional local brands in Philly that I think light up your market.
Even Dietz and Watson too. Right?
Dietz and Watson, Rita's.
Yep. It's all right there, and that's what, like, it's so great to see some of the small businesses and smaller brands kind of capitalize on this and are willing to invest in that and kind of take the risk. But I mean, since we started with Hanks, I think they were maybe about 6,000 followers when we very first started. They just hit 9,009 or something like that. So I mean, it's not all because of me, but when you're constantly hitting somebody in the face over and over and over, especially when it's a company that is kind of helping themselves here, helping customer that they have, let's say, Silvio's in Hatboro, right? Silvio's Hoagies, they just brought Hanks on. And it's now Hank's we're going to go out there. We're going to do a video for Silvio's. It's like, look at them giving back to the community, the hand that feeds. That's what this is all about, is how can this small community thrive with each other versus getting bought out by these big conglomerate companies that have endless marketing budgets, which, I want to talk to them too. But I want the small businesses to kind of thrive. That's our goal here.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So I guess moving in, why are you on a craft beer podcast? You have this beer with Vault Brewing.
Yeah.
How did this happen? And I mean, I see this beer all over the place. This is like, it must be kind of weird to like walk into a beer store and just see your face.
It's surreal. It's surreal. We'll preface it. The final batch is coming to a close, so it's going to be, if you get it, it's going to kind of be, like a relic of sort. So hold on to it is what I'm saying. But the collaboration, the partnership with Vault has been awesome. We went out there and we went to a food, beer, and wine fest at Citizens Bank Park. We were going out there, we were talking to a bunch of different craft brewers and everything, and it was great. And Vault kind of just really resonated with us because they were just cool guys. And also, quite frankly, they gave us the time of day to talk to them. So it was a little bit twofold. But Scott, who is who is the managing partner of Vault, we had a conversation. He's like, I found you before that. He's like, I really liked your social media presence. He's like, I like these reviews that you were doing. And it was a conversation he had with his team saying, we should bring this guy in. So we agreed to do 3 videos for them, showcase their brand. They were trying to kind of redevelop as they were just refreshing the brand a little bit as new owners came in and all that. Mm-hmm. So they brought me in. We did the videos. It was great, but we wanted to continue on working with them. We built a great relationship with them. They're an awesome company. It's good beer. It's like the only IPA that I actually like. I'm not a big IPA fan, but I like theirs. So we were like, what if we just made a beer? And as you were saying earlier, it's like, we kind of get it. How can we unify 2 brands that make sense? So we came out with the beer. We literally did 1 taste test of it. I crushed the lager that they had made, and like within 30 seconds, just crushed it, cracked open another one. I was like, don't change this. This is amazing. Realistically, I don't think they were going to change it, whether I said change it or not. Like, they had already made the beer, and they essentially just white labeled my face on it. But again, we did essentially give it an approval, and we just ran a batch with it. Within the first, I think it was 3 to 5 weeks, we had sold out the first batch, like it was accounted for. So basically, I was going out to these different bars and restaurants, and I had another guy, John, who was going out there kind of like beating the street a little bit. And we said, hey, if you bring on the beer, we'll come out and do a video for you. Short term, lost a little bit of money on that one just because like we did a lot of videos, and these places, if we weren't doing the beer, they most likely would have paid. But we wanted to get the beer in the store. And it was great because, again, same thing, though we weren't necessarily getting directly paid by them. We were forming relationships. Now there's additional spots that I know of. So
I'm doing the same thing. So the idea of like you putting your face behind a brand is kind of what I'm doing with my own brand, Space Cadet, except without my face. I'm like putting the astronaut behind it.
Yeah.
But again, like I'm telling, when I first started selling beer like 8 months ago, I was telling every single like account I went to, like, I would be back here, I would take pictures and videos, and I quickly realized, like, holy shit, this is a lot of, it's like taking a half a day to go, you know, you're selling like essentially like $40 worth of beer to them once a month. Like, and you realize like very quickly, like the math here is like, it's not.
You're losing money.
Yes, I need to figure out another way to do this. It's going to take a while for me to hit everybody.
Yeah, and it's tough because like for me, right? It's if I put out videos and I'm showcasing these places,
You want it to be quality. You have a standard that you want to hit.
Exactly, and like it's tough because you said, okay, I just sold you 2 kegs, right? And I'm not really seeing the kickback. Like we haven't made a dime off Chase U.
Yeah.
Now I haven't spent a dime either making it, so it's it's cool for sure. But money is also nice
project,
when you have a mortgage and a child and stuff. But it was cool to get out there and make these connections. But there is the reality of like if you're doing the marketing, it's good and bad. But focusing like on the good, it's a value add. Right? If you can go in there and say, oh, you're not only getting a delicious beer that's made from these hands, but I'm going to give you a value add of like, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do your marketing, which at most of these places, it just as well as I do, is not great. It's subpar because they're focused on 8 million other things. And the last thing that they want to do is make a video because Instagram and TikTok and YouTube is not as simple as everybody says, hey, just pull out your phone and make a video. Do you want it to be good or do you want it to just be a video? Like, which one is it? So it's, It was a fun project to work on. Last batch again is I believe being completed, and then that's going to be that. A lot went into that decision. Penn Bev not picking the beer back up is a big reason and a good business decision to be like, okay, well we're just not going to brew it anymore if there's nobody that's going to distribute it. But everybody that has had it for the most part, nobody said it tasted like shit. But not everybody said that. I was like, oh my God, this is the best beer. There were some that said it. I don't think it's the best beer. I think it's a good beer.
It's a good crushable beer. Yeah, that's all you need.
That's the unofficial quote is it's crush responsibly, but it just tasted like a beer that makes you say,
also.
Yeah, makes you want to go, I'll do another. But like 6 more times. I'll do another. And that's what we wanted was just something that people liked, you could bring to the tailgates. We wanted to get to like Phillies postseason, but obviously we're not going to get there. But we did go out to a couple Eagles tailgates, and it was just cool to throw a beer with your face on it and watch people drink it. Like it's surreal.
As much as this might not have been like financially viable for you, it's probably cool because you are building a brand around yourself. Like you see what Mr. Beast has done with the Feastables.
Yep.
It's kind of your taste into CPG and like, how can you get brands out? I'm sure this is not going to be the last opportunity that you get.
Thank you for saying that because it's nice when I think that of like, no, there's most likely going to be another brewery or another beer that's like, oh, we can partner up and do something and we'll do it differently this time from a business standpoint. But to have a beer with your face on the shelves of these beer distributors that you've walked in so many times, it's crazy. And then to have your buddies text you and say, dude, this is wild. Like, we're so proud of you. It means the world. And I'm glad that we did it. Are there things in hindsight I would have changed? Yeah, absolutely. Of course, such as life. But it's cool to have even it's just a sticker on a can. Yeah. But it's cool to keep that little memory of like, man, this was neat. Like we went to the first brew day and everything. I'm pouring the hops in there. It was a really cool experience. I wish it would have went a little bit differently, but I don't know. I'm going to crush another one.
Yeah, I know, someone that's similar to you, Pancakes and Perkin Chase. She's got the beer with Attic.
Yeah.
Right? But I think, like you said, there's definitely maybe some kinks that you have to work through, whether it's with Vault or somebody else. I think it's definitely makes sense.
I mean, I think for the breweries at least, I know there's just a ton of value as far as exposure and like from just being a fan of Vault and in general, a beer like this and just like the market share that you were going after too. Like they didn't have a beer in that sort of category.
Exactly.
So for you to be able to break that into and for them is just really cool.
What do you think your viewership base is? Is it younger people? I mean, you're pretty clean.
Yeah.
But you obviously have a beer brand, but you think it's just younger people, like college age kids, or older than that?
I think it's probably people that are around my age, 35 to 45 is I think where I hit it heavy. But per Instagram analytics, it's about 25 all the way up to 55 is where like my my bread and butter is. I don't hit the 13 to 17 demographic. I don't want to hit that demographic.
Don't hit that demo.
But it's also like a pretty even split of male to female ratio. I have noticed that it trends more female when I'm doing like songs or parodies in the Delco accent. Now it's more female when I'm doing like dad content. So thank you to all the rock star moms that are out there that are sending it to the rock star dads. But yeah, it's a pretty even split. But yeah, it's usually like 25 to 55 is my demographic, which honestly up to 55. I'm surprised I hit that demo, but everybody likes to eat, so
I think maybe 5-10 years ago, 55-year-olds were not on social media. My parents are on social media. Mm-hmm. It's like I think that it's just standard now for.
My parents are on social media because of me. Like,
yeah,
I need extra views, but no, I do agree. But it is cool, especially again using like the real in person because I mean, like you said, I can get comments right, left and right, DMs and everything. But when people are coming up to me from all different age ranges at Citizens Bank Park, being like, "Oh my God, Chase, you," and asking for a picture, which by the way, I very seldom see the picture. Like, there's maybe 2 of the amount that I've taken.
Saving it for themselves.
They might be, but like I've seen like maybe 2 in my tags on Instagram. I'm like, where's the picture going? But it is cool to like sit down and try to have a conversation with them and all that. Like I can't do this without everybody. Again, I'm just some schmuck from Northeast Philly who has a bunch of followers that, thank God, trust my word. But it is cool seeing like, you know, these teenagers running up, be like, "Oh, can I get a picture with you?" Be like, "Oh, you're the goat, you're the goat." And then there's, you know, a mom who's like, "Oh my God, you're so cute. I love your videos. They're the best." I'm like, "Thanks."
What is so TikTok? I just recently started posting that. I've been talking about TikTok for a while, but I just recently, last couple of months, started posting on it.
Yeah.
Are businesses still heavy? Like, I want you to do this for Instagram, but like the TikTok's a value add on, or is it? Because I feel like you get more views on TikTok.
Yeah, it depends on who you are. TikTok has changed so drastically from what it was, obviously from being Musical.ly, which I wasn't even introduced to it at that point, but it was the easiest way to go viral. And now it's kind of one of the harder ways, at least from my experience, right?
Well, you can go. Instagram's very follower heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For TikTok, it's like you can hit like a group of people that like you're not connected to at all, just all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's so finicky. I used to be very consistent on TikTok, and it's kind of like, oh, well, I'm going to chase where the viewers are. Instagram became my bread and butter, and that's kind of everybody wants YouTube, right? Everybody wants the YouTube money, myself included. But Instagram kind of became that. Oh, this is competing. So I put a lot of time in just doing that, and it's the same video. It's all cross posting. It's just what's going to resonate, what's not going to resonate. But this is my take. TikTok has become social media QVC. Every single thing is just, what are we selling? What is the product that we're pitching to? And that's what I've heard is, if you're not selling on TikTok, that's what you're missing out on. So whether it's a product, whether it's a bev.
Yeah, TikTok Shop is like taking over.
Mm-hmm. And I think
I have heard that.
That's where a lot of the businesses are kind of maneuvering to, because it's
like all e-commerce just goes through TikTok now.
So easy. You're right there. You don't have to leave the app. You just connect to PayPal, boop boop, and now your order showing up at your door. Mm-hmm. And Amazon is now they've been doing, but getting the influencers and the content creators to come on and be like, oh, make a review, make a video, for the same exact reason. So I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon has an Amazon Shop account that's coming out, but TikTok Shop is just
Amazon. You can get paid as an influencer on Amazon, which is like you get paid stupid money. It takes you a while to like be the front page on it, but you get paid crazy when you do.
But it's also like at that point, when are you just selling out? You know, to the brand, to the product, because a lot of those products are not great. Some are good, but if I want to know about a product, I'm most likely not going to go to TikTok of somebody who's going to get a commission. Let me just do the review off of a blog or off of a vlog, which also is most likely making money. But I think TikTok, a lot of businesses, it is the value add, right? I'll do a cross post on TikTok, but the big time value is going to be on Instagram, on Meta.
The brand face lives on Instagram.
Exactly.
It's like the new face inside of their website. It's like their company runs on Instagram.
Yeah, and there is still, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I don't trust TikTok. It's like, okay. It's like, Sure, but you're on the internet, right? And you're sharing a lot of information.
12 other apps on your phone, full access to your pictures.
Yeah, so it's, you guys know that just as well as I do of what that conversation looks like. But people value Instagram, Meta, and granted, there are a lot of businesses who have been established where Facebook was the social media source for them. So if you're on that and you can connect those devices or connect those pages together for Meta, I think people see that, and TikTok again is just that value add.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard Twitter's like coming back. Like Twitter's starting to pay people now also.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that I don't want to say Twitter eludes me. I understand it, but it's just not one that I'm on.
I'm not on Twitter at all. It's too ADD. It's too fast for me. And TikTok's kind of the same thing, but it's
a whole different piece of content, really.
Yeah.
It's just like the nice thing about the video content is you can do the reposts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if they're, I don't know, maybe they won't go that way, but like.
I think Threads is also now trying to, obviously they're competing with Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it. But see, that's the other issue is like there's so much that goes into like the variables, the outside of like just what the app is. And you're like, I don't have time to have this discussion. But I do think that, social media has become such a tool for businesses. And what I really appreciate is these younger businesses that I think they have the biggest balls in the world, especially because they opened up during COVID or right before COVID began, who understand how useful, how powerful of a tool social media is, that they're willing to invest in it for bringing in a content creator or just bringing in somebody who they've contracted.
I think the most dangerous brand in the world is like the family-owned business, a local business, family-run business, where like their kids are now turning, 20, 21, they're going through college, and they're starting to realize how business works, and they understand how social media works, and they can connect to somebody like you and just like, we're taking this amazing product that's now survived 30 years and then like putting on steroids.
Yep, that's like, I look at that with Collegeville Italian Bakery, right? We were talking about that earlier. Steve,
the best,
I love Collegeville Italian Bakery is one of my favorite spots ever.
The best pizza, best cheese sticks, but they sell everything there.
Everything, because they're more than a bakery. But Steve does just such an incredible job because he's never not thinking of like what's next. And his wife, it's spelled Patrizia, but I think it's Patricia. But those two are just rock stars. You come in and their customer service is just next level. But they make these sandwiches that are exciting on social media. And I think that's a place that has done such a good job. And Steve has shared this with me. He's like, we don't pay anybody to come in here. And I'll take
But everybody goes in there. Have you been there?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
There's pictures of like every single person.
If my picture doesn't get on that wall before I die, I've done something wrong. And like, there's other content creators who are on that wall, but I'm not one of them. But I've taken a picture as the Pizzola of the day. I don't know if my picture's just hiding somewhere. You didn't point it out. But Steve, I want to get on that wall.
Get it up there.
But he does such a good job in bringing in the community and what we were talking about of like how social media forms a relationship, right? He does that with the shop, whether you're in the shop or whether you're looking at it on your phone, but he's never not thinking. And he's always had Collegeville Italian Bakery is a staple in the area. Now, what if we take that staple and we put it on social media to attract more people? And we have this item that's on the menu that people want to see, and now we have more people. It's incredible that he's in line now with an earpiece in his ear and a walkie-talkie in his hand saying, hey guys, this table just cleared, while there's a line going out the door. Nothing like I've ever seen before, but like they're a great example of how they've used social media and combined it with how good their menu is to create this absolute beast.
I love it. Like they have the sign out front that like anything that happens around Philly, they just call him out immediately.
Yep. He's Steve. I point a lot of businesses to look at their content because they do such an amazing job with it. Any celebrity that is in town, whether they're doing something at Oaks or like a card signing, he's on it. The collaborations that he's done with like Matt Strom or Brandon Graham or Joel Embiid, like it's just so impressive to see how he's used their name, image, and likeness to kind of benefit not only the Collegeville Italian Bakery, but also like the Eagles Autism Foundation. What he's done, he should teach a master class on it because he's just done such an exceptional job of how you connect a community in Collegeville with every surrounding area that's there to bring people through the door. And like you said, eat their delicious food. The food is top notch.
It is. It's I As much as they get a lot of attention, they don't get enough attention.
Yeah, I've talked about this with a lot of businesses that we've gone to because it's like, oh my God, it was like thank you so much for coming in. You brought all these people in. They're here because of you. I'm like, they're here because of you. I said, I just helped highlight something that's amazing. If you don't have good food, this is meaningless. If I showcase a delicious sandwich or a delicious pizza and somebody comes in, but it actually is not good.
Yeah, you lose all credibility.
I've done you a disservice, but you have such amazing items on your menu that back up what I say that keep people here and keep them retained. Lucatelli's is another great example in Doylestown about that. They have amazing food. They have an awesome spot. It's that next level. I call it artisanal style pizza. It's the long fermentation dough. It's got a nice chew to it, but a nice crust. It's incredible. But we go out there, we'll do a couple of reviews. We'll do a cheesesteak review. He's like, look, before Dave Portnoy, he's like, you're the reason that this place blew up. Portnoy went down and did a cheesesteak and pizza review. So it's amazing. Now that I think about it, maybe Portnoy went because he saw my video.
I was just thinking it.
So
too.
perhaps. But like Dave out there and Joe, they run a great business.
What are the pizza places to hit up around here? So obviously them, but
I was gonna say around Philly, I'll leave that to Mike. Pancakes and protein shakes.
Okay.
Philly is so saturated, and thankfully, since I live in the suburbs now, I'm able just to focus on the suburbs.
Yeah.
Lucatelli's is very good. Rumor has it, not a rumor, that Maple Glen and Lucatelli's are the same family, same owner. It is. So it's Lucatelli's is more of like that artisanal. Maple Glen is more of a snappy New York style pizza.
Yeah.
Steel Penny in Hatboro started off as a coffee shop. Now it's kind of expanded. Steel
Into
Penny
pizza?
Into pizza, into sandwiches. Just a very, very good craft joint. Their coffee is awesome. Their Detroit style pizza, which is so unsuspecting from a coffee shop first, phenomenal. They got a guy Dean back there who's running the show. They were so good that you had to like Tacanelli's. You had to place an order for your dough. You had to kind of reserve the dough. Now, thankfully, you don't have to. It's one of those pizzas that you're like, ooh, that's a little bit. But once you take that first bite, you're like, warranted, absolutely warranted. So Steel Penny is very, very good.
Detroit style?
Detroit style pizza.
Detroit style is really good.
So good.
It's really good.
So good.
Very underrated.
It really is. And I think Detroit style pizza doesn't get as much love as it deserves in Philadelphia because we're so passionate and prideful. Like, no, it's Detroit. We don't like Detroit. Yeah. Go Birds, go Fly, like all that stuff, right? Tigers can kick rocks. But like, it's so good. The caramelized cheese on the end, and Collegeville Italian Bakery also has a very good one because they use the Wisconsin brick cheese. Because if you're not using Wisconsin brick cheese on a Detroit, it's not a Detroit.
Collegeville Italian Bakery, their grandma's pie is my favorite.
Also very good one. The Norristown Red Top with the swirl, also very good. But Verona has a good one, which is right across the street from Maple Glen.
Yeah,
so you can hit both of them up. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good pies that are out in the suburbs. But Lucatelli's, I go back to. Steel Penny, I go back to a lot. That might be one of my favorite ones. And then there's a little spot on York Road right up the street from Amy's Pizzeria that was mentioned earlier. It's called Joe's Pizza. Nothing special. It's a boardwalk swirl, a little floppy, but it's just a good pizza that you're like, yeah, I'll get this time and time again. And I'm sure that there's people that I'm missing that are going to be, why didn't you mention us? But those are the ones that just, they
sticking out right now.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
Nice. So what, do you have like stuff that's coming up in the, like, you said you don't plan anything, but like, is there stuff coming up for football season or?
Nothing for football season just yet, and I'm sure that things will pop up. The next biggest thing that we have is we've partnered up, kind of like unofficially, but we've already done some videos with Dad Season, which is the Nick Foles and Pat O'Donnell brand. Nick Foles, obviously.
Cool.
BDN, we know him. But Pat O'Donnell was a punter in the league. I think he's a free agent right now. But they partnered up on the brand Dad Season. So we've been working with them a little bit.
Dad's Season?
What is the brand?
So the brand is, it's an apparel brand.
Okay. So you're getting into the dad game now.
Yeah. It's great, man. It's like every corner I turn, and this is, again, we're connecting the dots forward by going backwards of like, how can we do stuff? So Dad Season, it's DADSZN. Right?
Yeah.
It's a cool way to spell season now. But it's an apparel brand. And it's all about like, Dad Season, no days off, right? You're always doing something, which is great. They just came out with some cool T-shirts, which is awesome too. But they just broke into Rally House. So we went out there. We shot a video with a couple guys, Luke and Chris. Chris runs a page that is called Oh goodness gracious! Hello 422 or something like that.
Hello 422.
Oh, he's the not pizza guys.
Yeah, gee, you know them. Yeah. So Luke and Chris from Not Pizza.
Yes. Also, congrats on their espresso martini
And their margarita. Yeah, I can't wait to try it
Yeah.
because this Orange Crush one.
It's very good.
Dangerous. But yeah, we went out there. So Luke runs his own creative production. So we went out there. We shot with that season. Went out to Rally House, and it was awesome. Thankfully, again, all these connections that you're fortunate enough to make. Pat had reached out, which I'm not going to lie, it's very cool to have the number of an NFL player in your phone. So he had reached out. He's like, "Yo, do you have a contact at Wawa?" And every time that somebody asks me for any connection, I'm like, "Look, I'll make the introduction. The rest is on them. If they don't answer you, they don't answer you. If they do, they do." They answered them.
I'm in the Wawa Super Bowl commercial.
Are you really? That's amazing.
Jason Kelsey.
I'm like the poor man's Jason Kelsey.
They came in. I was at Victory. They came in. They asked if there was anyone that could be an extra. I walked outside. It took 30 seconds. I signed a piece of paper. And then 3 weeks later, I was just watching the Super Bowl and I popped up. I was like, I've never gotten so many texts in my entire life.
Yo, you're on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. But we're going to be shooting something basically to make a pitch to Wawa of hey, you should be partnering.
You sell
with
merch at Wawa?
I don't know what they're going to do. That's a larger conversation for Pat and his team and Nick and his team to have. I did write in a BDN joke that apparently Nick was like, "That's funny, but we can't use that." I understand it, but that's
just cool that he saw it and you got to say.
Yeah, we collabed on 2 videos. I'm a collaborator on a video with Nick Foles,
that's
which
cool.
is just surreal.
That's the coolest thing
It
ever.
really the Super Bowl MVP. Philadelphia's real life Rocky.
Legend.
It's it's such a cool thing to be part of. So yeah, we're going to be shooting hopefully this weekend down at the Summers Point Wawa.
Has Wawa reached out? Have you done stuff with Wawa before?
Yeah, we've done a lot of stuff with Wawa.
Hoagie Fest?
We've done, so when their pizza came out, we did something to kind of showcase the pizza and some other options of Wawa's late night runs. We did something, they sent out a PR package when they found out that we were pregnant. And
oh my God.
Then
That's so cool.
it was amazing. And if there's any content creators or wannabe content creators that are out there, or content creators people that want to be, not want to be, but want to be content creators, build those relationships because it's so key and it's going to help you in the long run. Wawa ghosted me the first time that I messaged them when I was under 7,500, and now they're sending me baby PR packages. It's surreal how that stuff happens. But they did a Father's Day video. I don't want my son to be on social media. Yeah, my wife, we don't want that because social media can be weird.
Yeah, the AI generated baby in Squid
we held
Games.
him to where his back was to the camera, but he's got it's the cutest thing, a little Wawa beanie that has Wawa. We put it on backwards so you could see it, and then at the end of the video, I close it off, and you hear him go he just coos, and I'm like, oh, it just melts your heart. But Wawa's been an amazing partner. Becky, who is one of the faces that runs the place over there, has just been an angel, and she's good at what she does. She's intimidating, but in one of those ways that you're yeah, I respect the shit out of you. But yeah, they've been great. So I'm sure that we'll do something with them down the line. They're an awesome partner. We have a pitch out to hers to hopefully we can do something, long term with them.
Any Philly brand, I mean, you just the stereotypical Philly guy, and I think any brand, it just would be, an idiot not to just partner with you.
Yeah, Victory, what's up, dude? Let's talk.
I'll connect you with somebody. I got
connections to
emails there, but yeah, I mean, the Hanks, any brand that just wants to be considered a Philadelphia brand. You're doing so many local things. It's why not put their brand next to the stuff that you're already doing?
Sure.
At what point did you you do a lot of comedy content as well? When did that sort of come about? It just naturally progressed into.
That's exactly what it was. It was one of those things of my tagline is oh, let's give it a shot. I literally was let's give this a shot. And it was, I think the one that really resonates with me is when I started doing the stereotypical, we're watching the Eagles game, and this is, every Philadelphia fan during the Eagles game in week 3 versus whoever. And people were oh, dude, that's just how I was. You had no idea. I was yelling, why do we keep running the pass option or something like that, right? And that's I put one out there, and it was 11 o'clock at night. It was at their Sunday night football game, and it overnight it just did well. I can't remember exactly what one, but that was my thought of Everybody's home from the link. Everybody's home from Xfinity. Let's post it up as they're scrolling through their phone. And it worked. And then all of a sudden it was like, let's take popular songs and put a Delco twist on it. And
Delco content always hits.
It really does. And then my favorite thing is when people go, and I read every comment in a Delco accent. Yeah, that's not a Delco accent. That's a Philly accent. It's like, and then you get the people. Yeah, that's not a Philly accent. That's a Delco accent. I'm like, have you ever heard somebody from Delco and Northeast Philly talk? They're cousins. It's the same thing, and it's.
I think Northeast Philly, the Northeast should get more love, or what? I guess you could call it hate, but I like Delco gets all the attention. The
really
Northeast does not get it.
Well, I think that
People just love to hate on Delco.
I think it's for me, it's such an appreciation of Delco. My wife is from Ridley, which some people are like, that's fake Delco. So there's like such passion within Delco of what Delco is the real part. But like I married into it. I love it. I thought about moving there, and my wife's like, we much like I am with Northeast Philly. It's like I grew up there. I love it there. She grew up there. She loved it there.
Just go get a taste of it when you need it.
Exactly. So like I love doing the Delco skits, and like sometimes I'll make the caption Delco Dad. Sometimes I'll make it Philly Guy or whatever it is. But it's the conversation that people have in the comments of like once it starts taking off, I'm done now. 100%. I've done my job, and they go off. But you can't be that naive to sit there and say there is not a general geographical Philadelphia area accent. We've all migrated from the center point of Philadelphia to Bucks, to Jersey, some people in Philadelphia don't leave, but like Delco, Cherry Hill, all of that. And the accent traveled with them. So like the more that we grow, the more that people migrate, the more that accent's just going to spread. And people are like, no, that's not Delco. That's Philly. No, that's not Philly. It's the same. It's so similar. Like there's nuances for sure. But people go crazy over it, and Delco does hit better on the algorithm. So most of the time, it's Delco.
Hashtag Delco. Just toss it on the end.
You just put it right there in the captions. But there are people who will say like, "Yo, why does Delco get all that attention?" Or there will be some people in Delco who are like, "Oh, I hate that. This is how we're perceived." And it's like you are the most beloved suburb in the country. Like people don't sit there and go, "Oh, well, there's this popular suburb in Detroit that people make an accent out." No. People know Delco.
Yeah, every person that watches the NFL knows that, like, Delco's coming to the link this weekend.
And then there's those fake Philadelphia celebrities that claim it. Like Bradley Cooper, love you. You're from Jenkintown, dude. You're not a Philly guy. I'm sorry to say that to you. But he does do a pretty good accent.
He's a very good actor. But you work with Enterprize Sports, right?
Yeah, we've done some stuff with them. We've done a lot of comedy skits with them, kind of to segue to that.
Yeah, that's kind of definitely how we saw some, because
Doug and Dan.
Dan was doing a lot of Delco stuff with you specifically.
Yeah, Dan and Doug, we met at an influencer event, and I won't name the bar. It was a good time, but influencer events suck. I went to one, that was it. I was like, you're all like, everybody's competing for the same shot. It's the same shot, just a different angle. And everybody's like, I gotta get the first one. It's the most intense and ridiculous thing that I've ever seen. So me and then PJ, aka Traveling Taste Buds on Instagram. Yeah, really, really nice kid. We've been friends because like he came at me in one of the videos and I was like, I'm not gonna have this guy from Jersey talk to me about cheesesteaks, and that was actually what I responded on TikTok, and he was like, dude, that was amazing. So we went together, and then Dan and Doug were there, and we were just shooting the shit. We were just having a good time. We never really did videos. About a year went by, and we'd see each other at events, like tailgates and stuff like that, and we'd say hi. And then one day, Sheffield Shuffler, aka Pete, who does a lot of Philadelphia Phillies, I love his style. He's a great storyteller when it comes to sports. They shot the video of Kyle Schwarber's brother, Carl, working in the office. And I thought it was absolutely hysterical. Pete messages me that day because I commented a couple of things. But he's like, dude, we should do one of like Jason Kelsey's brother, right? It just made sense. And I was like, dude, I don't want to step on your toes, but I absolutely want to shoot that. He goes, no, come on out, go shoot it. And I'm sure Doug and Dan said it, but like we shoot it at his dad's office in Riverside, which people love to point out when we do the Delco accents. But it's just a couple guys who like are creative and they want to put out a skit, and
they're really
just
open. It's
fun.
like they have a ton of followers. Mm-hmm. We do not have a ton of followers, and it's just like immediately like, let's do this together. Let's figure out. They're bigger. They've grown so much faster than everybody else, but it's like they're also like the most open to work with other people.
They're
on top of everything.
They're willing to, because like, and they're particular with who they want to work with, like we all are, right? You're trying to make sure that your brand is protected. We've worked hard for it. You want to make sure that it's protected and it's perceived well. And I've said it to them. Enterprise sports are rambunctious, to say the least, on some of the stuff they put. And Dan will say it to anybody. He'll toe that line. He'll cross the line.
Well, you've seen it with like Word to the Wise and What the Fuck Philly. It's like they keep getting like hundreds of thousands of followers and just like deleted all over immediately.
Exactly. And like you had mentioned, I'm pretty clean. I might take a shit here in a video or something. And I'll not curse like a sailor, but it's not going to be caught on camera, hopefully.
Yeah.
But filming with them is just so much fun, because I have no idea what an SNL writer's room is. But that's what I would think. Like, it's just maybe, I'll leave that thought out there, but like maybe a lot less substances that are in there. But it's just people who want to have fun and write something that's going to make them laugh and share that with somebody else who hopefully they'll laugh too. So the Delco skits have been so fun of like,
they all have good personalities. They're all like different personalities.
Yeah.
Dan and Doug are very different.
So different.
It's
crazy
so
seeing them in the same room.
Doug was on the Fantastic Show on Fox last night, and he texted me. He's like, dude, I'm a little bit nervous. I was like, just be yourself. I said, don't prep anything. Just answer the questions that are coming to you. And it's like, it's going to be a lot easier.
Yeah.
And like, if Dan were to go on, all right, I got this. Like, making the jokes and everything. But those two, they're great. Pete's awesome too. We haven't filmed in a while, obviously, because I've been a little busy with the baby.
Yeah.
But Dan messages me all the time. He's like, dude, we got to film. And Dan, I miss you. Doug, I miss you. Pete, I miss you. But it's just, if nobody watched them, I would still want to film with them, because it's so much fun just filming that and seeing your idea come to life. And I say that to a lot of content creators of, if you would do this for free, that's what it's all about, because you enjoy creating the content. It's the entire creative process that you enjoy. Money's great, probably my favorite thing out of all of this, because it helps me take care of my family. That is the ultimate goal. Mm-hmm. But being able to create content that's fun, that people enjoy.
I mean, they have good personalities. They're also
awesome.
like, you can tell like they're from Philly. They're very relatable. Some people put out like the Delco stuff and just like, it's just is not hidden.
Real. It's not authentic. I mean, they're Jersey guys, but it's okay. But like it's one of
close enough.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's Philly's neighbor, but it's a lived experience, and I think that's the key when people are trying to do the Delco accent. Is like, is this real? Is it authentic? Is it a lived experience? Because you can't bullshit a city of bullshitters. They're going to pick up on it immediately. But they are such different guys, and we're all different in our own way, and we all bring something to the table when it comes to creating that content. But it's great because like Doug and Dan can shoot something, Pete and I can shoot something, Pete and Doug can shoot something, Dan and I can shoot something, and it just works under that umbrella of Enterprise Sports. And I mean, granted, there's no sports in our comedy skits, but it's just cool to like watch those Delco things. The one of Dan and I saying, "Oh, that's an amazing jacket. Oh, it's an amazing jacket too. Yo, where are you from? Oh, you're from Delco, dude. That's crazy." And he comes back. It's got 750,000 views.
Crazy.
It took us 3 tries to get that right, because at one point I forgot to turn the mic on. But we're sitting in the middle of Riverside at 12:30 in the morning. There's apartments above us. We apologize to them. Of like just screaming, yo, dude, you're wah, wah, wah. Like, and it's cool to see those things come to life. But then for people to be like, oh, this makes me miss home. Or I can't believe that I actually miss Delco. But they're great guys to film with, and it's just, like I said, it's fun. It's enjoyable.
Nice. So you have anything else you want to plug before we head out of here?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
where is it? Chase you everywhere?
@_Chase_you. I say to people all the time.
TikTok also?
On everything. Cool. Yeah. If you type in on Instagram Chase Utley, just leave the Tali part out, and I'll pop right up with him. And I'm not Chase. But yeah, no, this was awesome. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
having me on. Yeah, this was fun to break bread and break beers.
Yeah,
definitely.
no, thank you.
Yeah. And you can find us at the Brewdat Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube.
5 stars, please.
5 stars,
Spotify.
comments, reviews, and we'll see you guys next week. Cool.